Hello and welcome to another Ghost of Tsushima Legends video. In this one I'm going to talk about the classes and how good they are in the survival mode of the new DLC. I'm going to be ranking them from the least useful to the most useful, so let's just start off. The least useful class in the survival mode is going to be the Hunter. Now, the Hunter, while it is a very useful and diverse class in the story mode, in the survival mode, it's not quite as. It's not as useful just because when you're going to be using range attacks is going to be at the very beginning of a wave, when you're trying to thin out the herd before it gets to you, so you can have an easier time fighting it in close combat. And considering that's the shortest amount of time that you're actually going to be using the class's features, it's not as useful as some of the other classes on this list. As well as the abilities, like the stunning arrow or the explosion arrow, while they are useful, they're not as useful as some of the other abilities that the other classes have. And the ultimate, Eye of Uchitsune, is still quite good. You can have 3 or 5 people just instantly get headshot, but it's not as useful as the other abilities the other ultimates that are almost exactly like it, just in a different flavor, because you can't use 2 arrows to hit 1 target, which is a strong point of some of the other abilities. So all in all, the Hunter is going to be the least useful class for survival mode. Alright, so the next class on the list is going to be the Samurai. Now the Samurai is a bit more useful than the Hunter because the Samurai is built around being in the fray and being in combat. It has increases to its health and increases to its damage, and just as increase to its normal combat ability. Its activated abilities that the Samurai has are quite good for this. The first one gives the Samurai quite a lot of sustainability, self-sustainability, which is something that is very difficult, especially when you get to higher difficulties of survival mode, because there's very limited healing in the mode. But so having that survivability built into the kit of the Samurai is very, very good, or it can be straight damage with the explosion. And not to mention the fact that the ultimate is very fast. It's very fast. It's very good. It can be used to quickly get rid of enemies if you really need to. Very, very powerful, useful ability, and can be used to hit a single enemy multiple times. So because of these reasons, the Samurai is going to be the next best. Alright, and coming in at the number 2 slot on this list is going to be the Assassin. Now, Assassin is a very useful class in this mode. In fact, it's the most useful damage dealing class in this mode for one very specific reason that we'll get to. It's built around the main thing that the Assassin is going to be doing, that the other classes aren't going to be doing, is it's going to be targeting and trying to take down the very powerful, very big enemies first. So those Oni, those sort of boss enemies, it's going to try to take those down as quickly as possible. It's got a kit built around doing that, especially with the critical assassination, the double damage stealth attack. It's built around trying to take down powerful enemies very, very quickly in 1 or 2 hits. So that is very useful, something that the other classes don't really have. Its abilities, the stealth poison, it can be pretty useful, especially if you have a bunch of enemies grouped up together, because you can wait, let those guard ticks down, and then you can stab and get a couple free hits off, maybe get 2 or 3 killed for that. And the other ability being the same thing without the poison, but it's a group effect. That is also very useful, especially if you have a coordinated team of people. You can drop the bomb and get 4 assassinations instantly, or maybe kill like 2 or 3 Oni just immediately. Not to mention the ultimate ability, the Shadow Strike, is possibly the most useful ultimate outside of the number 1 ultimate in this list, because it's got the unique ability of being able to teleport. And the reason this is so good is because if you have a point that's about to be captured, you can teleport straight to that point if you're within range and stop it from being captured. As someone whose first class was Assassin, and someone who runs Assassin in this mode, it's very useful. It's really, really good. I've used it multiple times, and I've clutch saved points multiple times because of that. So Assassin is a very, very useful class. You should definitely try to at least have one of these on your team when you're playing, because it can save in clutch moments like that, and it's very good at clearing out things pretty quickly. So Assassin is going to be the second most. It's the second. And finally at the number 1 spot, coming as almost no surprise to anyone who's played the game and played survival mode, is going to be the Ronin is the best class for survival mode. Now, Ronin has a lot of things going for it. It has two different distinct playstyles that you can use it for. You can use the support or the damage Ronin. Now, the support Ronin is the one you should at least always have one of on your team, because it's just so good. Damage Ronin, if you have more than one Ronin, you could use two support Ronins or one support Ronin, one damage Ronin, but you always want to at least have one support Ronin. And now the reason Ronin is so good is not because of the first ability with the dog, but because that's just okay. But the second ability with the healing aura, that's a very useful thing. It gives the healing aura that a healing drum gives after the initial burst, which is enough to heal almost to full, I'm fairly sure, along with the ultimate, which is the only reason you'll be playing Ronin. The only reason you want a Ronin is because of that ultimate. You're going to want to pump the ability for the ultimate to heal, and the ability to get an instant revive and then revive at full health all of your teammates all at once is so powerful, so valuable. It's very good. You're going to want a Ronin on your team. So that's why Ronin is definitely the most desired class. Try to run with at least one at the very least. Lower skilled players are at higher levels of the higher difficulties. You're gonna want to try to run with at least 2 Ronins, maybe even 3, but that's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, try to always have one Ronin if you can help it, and maybe even be that Ronin in those survival missions. Might be great. But yeah, Ronin, definitely very good. Try to have one on every team, for sure. Alright, and that's the order, at least in my opinion. I'm sure they're going to have other opinions, specifically at the bottom 2. You could argue that Ranger is better than Samurai, or argue that Samurai is better than Assassin, or something like that, or that Ronin's absolutely trash, whatever. This is my opinion. From my experience, I've had much easier times when I had Ronin on my team than when I've had some of the other things on my team. The worst one I ever had was when I had a Samurai Ranger with my Assassin. It did not go very well. We won, mostly because I just spammed the healing upgrade, but it did not go very well for us. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this ranking. It's gonna be about it. I'm having a lot of fun talking about Ghost of Tsushima, so hopefully I'll talk about it more later. Maybe something to do with the main game next time. Who knows? Not me. Alright, that's gonna do it for me.